Hi everyone, I'm Greg from the Adventure RC1, and today I'm going to be checking out the infamous Losi 5T 2.0. This thing has been on my want list for a long time, and I finally picked one up secondhand. So in this video, we're going to be checking out what's underneath the hood, and then of course taking it out to the track in the backwoods and taking it for a rip, because this thing is an absolute blast to run. Let's get started by checking out the transmitter that I have paired with the 5T, and that's going to be the Spectrum DX5C. I'm using this model because it's going to read some telemetry data from the receiver. Now there's going to be all kinds of sensors that I can connect up to the truck and get some real-time readout on the display of the transmitter. Right now, the only thing that I'm reading back is going to be the receiver battery voltage, which in my opinion is really important on a kit that's this big, this heavy, and this fast. Let's check out what that looks like right now. We'll see if we can catch this without any glare on the screen. The very top line right here is going to have the transmitter battery voltage, and down below it is going to be the receiver battery voltage. And there's a whole host of other sensors I can put on the truck, like an RPM sensor and a temperature gauge. I might do that in a future video, but for right now, this is all I need. Next, let's take a look underneath the body. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail because chances are, if you're searching YouTube for the Losi 5T, you've already went to the Losi website and drooled all over the nice pictures and all the specs on the machine. So I'm going to skip over that and instead just kind of show you an up close and real world view of what this thing looks like. And I've already forgotten how to take the body off. The front unclips first, and it is on there pretty good. There's a couple posts in the back, and then there's a couple horizontal posts. So I move this forward, and then the whole chassis comes right off. There's a couple of screws right here, here, and here that screw up through the chassis. Most people, including myself, take these out the first time we take the body off and then never put those screws back in. Here's the truck with the body off, and not surprisingly, it looks like all the pictures on the website. Seeing it up close though, we get a scale of just how big everything is on this truck, from the engine to the size of the tires to these huge servos. I've got the steering servo and the throttle servo. Let me back up a little bit and start with the Zenoa power plant. I believe stock this truck comes with a box muffler that shoots all the exhaust into the side window of the truck. So most people, including the previous owner, opted to put this rudimentary tuned pipe on, which makes this kit crazy loud. I think mandatory when putting a tuned pipe on these. We do have to have some earplugs because you will go absolutely deaf being around this machine. That includes anybody that's even around the vicinity of this truck being ran. That's why I waited so long to get one of these. Previously, I lived in the city and there's no way I could run this thing in town, but out here in the countryside, I can go out to the woods that's that away and I can run on basically my own personal track. Over here is the receiver box and the receiver on-off switch. Over here is the battery box. I'm running this on a TUS LiPo battery, and I'd like to check the specs on the receiver because I think I would like to run 3S on here because I'm thinking about upgrading the servos on here. They're a bit slow, and when I turn the receiver on in just a minute or two, we're gonna hear that these are actually kind of crunchy. I already took these apart and cleaned and re-greased all the gears on the top. It sounds a little bit better, but these things, they just sound a little funky. Actually, let's listen to those servos right now. I'm gonna lift the front end of the truck up and I'll get the receiver powered on. Okay, so now that I'm filming, that doesn't sound too bad. Well, until we get to the throttle brake servo, that thing just sounds really bad. It works though. One of the important things that I fitted on my truck is a fail-safe, and that is inside of the battery box, and that wires into the kill switch on the engine. On the transmitter, I've got a button programmed up to that kill switch, and when I hit that button, this light comes on, meaning that the engine can now be started. And at any time I think the truck is in trouble, I can hit that button and kill the engine. The rest of the truck is pretty straightforward. It does have cool features like bias brakes for the front and the rear, center differential, front and rear differential, a servo saver, and of course just everything is extra heavy duty on this thing to take all the power from the engine, getting it out to the wheels. That includes all the turnbuckles and all the suspension arms, and including these shocks are just massive. Take a quick look at the front and we'll see that there is a nice light bar across the front. I'll turn the receiver on real quick. That's also a good indication that the radio is also on. On the other side, we've got the air filter and air box and the fuel tank, and of course the carburetor hooked up to the air filter. I've got the choke and the fuel bulb. I'll show you just how easy it is to start this engine up in just a little bit. Speaking of fuel, this is the oil that I've been mixing with my gas. I'm doing a ratio of 25:1. I believe that's outlined in the manual for this vehicle. I've been running this truck off camera and it has been an absolute blast. I recommend if you ever have an opportunity to pick one of these up and you have an area to run it in, definitely go for it. You're not going to be disappointed. I think I'm ready to fill the tank up, take this thing outside for a rip. I did check the weather report and there's some nasty storms coming through, so I'm gonna get this out there real quick and see if we can't beat the storms and run a couple hot laps with this Losi 5T. I made it 10 feet out the door and the mosquitoes are absolutely on me. I took a shower in this stuff and this is the only thing keeping me alive. I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but my neighbor with his riding lawnmower has been blowing the gravel off the road for the last 20 minutes. I'm not really sure what that's about, but you know what? There's a break in the storms coming. The sun's out, the truck's out. Let's make some noise. Normally when I start the truck up, I have the body on it, but I wanted to show you just how easy the process is here. You start up everything like you normally would with an RC transmitter, receiver. I am going to activate the fail-safe device. So now I've got my red light, I can go ahead and start the engine. I'm gonna give it full choke, hit the primer until I get some fuel going into that fuel bulb. And then I'm just gonna slowly try starting it here. Once it pops, I'm going to stop. Turn the choke completely off and just give it a couple more tugs. And now it's time for some earplugs. I'm gonna walk away from the camera there, or the truck, so that we can hear me speaking a little bit better. While the truck is warming up, I'm gonna get the body on and I'll just run it out to the back track and let's make some noise. I don't know if you can see the mosquitoes, but they are absolutely treacherous out here. The mosquitoes out there. I feel like I did 12 rounds with the mosquitoes and lost, but running the truck out there was a blast and it was definitely well worth it. As you could tell, as I was sliding around and power drifting out there and sliding into trees and actually my main camera, I'm still getting the hang of this thing. And one of the things that I noticed is, maybe you can help me out with this, is when I lift the truck up, I put it on some coffee cans or something like that, I get a lot of action out of the front wheels. The endpoint adjustments are basically as far as they can go, and it looks like it should turn a really tight radius. However, when I put the truck on the ground and I give it a little bit of throttle, the turning radius gets so huge. So I don't know if I'm missing something in the radio or setup on the truck, but if you've got some tips for me, let me know down below by leaving a comment. Now, speaking of sliding around and bashing into the trees and the main camera, I've got a dent right here that I've got to pop out, and I've got a rip in the body. And yeah, that's right. Everybody that has one of these ends up switching this out to a different brand. I can't think of it right now, but I'll put it down in the comment section or down at the bottom of the screen of this video. But this body doesn't have to hit a whole lot in order for it to start taking damage. The underframe is really good, but all of this Lexan, even though it's many more times thicker than like a 10th scale or even 8th scale counterpart, it's just not enough to absorb sliding into something, because this thing is just so big and heavy. When it slides into something, either the truck or whatever it hit usually takes damage. Join me in future videos where I dive into the steering and the throttle servo. I want to change those out. I don't think that I really need to upgrade them. I have limited budget that I can work with to putting money into all my RC vehicles, but I think there's some good economical choices out there that are going to have quite a bit more torque and quite a bit more power without costing $200 per servo. The other thing that I want to check into is running a higher voltage receiver battery, which is also going to help out those servo motors with speed and more power. So if you have some suggestions, if I can say that correctly, let me know down below. I'd love to check out what your thoughts are. The other thing that I want to do on here is actually detune the engine a little bit. While I love the power that this makes, the noise that that tune pipe makes, and always having to wear earplugs, that is getting a little bit old. So I think I'm going to pull that tune pipe off and put a regular canister muffler on. I don't know if that's the right thing to do on here, but for me and the noise levels, I want to knock it down quite a bit. So I think that might be the route that I go. Thanks for joining me in this video. I had an absolute blast. I mean, what's not fun about running a giant scale gas-powered RC truck? Now don't forget to drop this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Not only is it a great way to help this channel grow, but it's an awesome way to connect video content like this with other RC enthusiasts just like yourselves. And until I see you in the next video, keep on ripping.